in Russia, going back to the czars and before, has been like the way to control the people and a way to bestow power and money to people that your underlings. Like if you're the czar and you want to like give somebody a good job, you're like, you'll handle the vodka. Oh my God, really? Because all of the vodka is made by the government. Like they wouldn't let they stopped letting the peasants make their own at some point along the way and like took control of it, and then they're able to tax it and they make it extremely affordable. And one of the things they did, the vodka bottles didn't reseal because they imagined that an average Russian man would finish a bottle in a day, or even in a sitting. Yes.
Are you making that up?
No, I'm not making that up.
The bottles wouldn't
go back on.
Wait, you mean like a fifth bottle, like the kind you buy at
it looked like a liter to me.
Not the handle, the giant liter.
Like a large vessel of vodka, like
That's
liter of vodka.
Huge amount of vodka.
But anyway, like over time, like control of the vodka and who and where those taxes went have moved around all the way up until modern days when like and the alcoholism that it has, like the systemic alcoholism, because generational alcoholism has been really interesting too.
That's sad.
And there were these quotes about how like a drunk Russian doesn't do this, a drunk Russian's wife doesn't do that, and a drunk Russian the child of a drunk Russian doesn't question this. It was like this great way to sort of control the population by keeping them drunk and complacent.
Well, I mean, that's just a different version of what, governments have done forever. The whole
I don't know. This is like government sponsored drugging of the whole society, and they've gone along with it because like the drunk Russian on vodka is a stereotype as much as black dudes with big dicks. Like,
I mean, the Russians, like, it's not just them though. Like, isn't like all those like ex-Soviet bloc countries kind of deal with that, right? Or no?
Well, for the same reasons, right? Because.
Oh, maybe, yeah. That's interesting. I didn't know any of that. Huh.
They're all Soviet bloc countries.
Did you ever see the Joe Rogan that had the Brian Fogel guy on there who did the Icarus documentary for Netflix? No, essentially, he breaks down and exposes the Russian doping program, okay? So the Russians, when they had the Olympics in Sochi, I think, whenever they had their Olympics, the Winter Olympics, like 2 or 4 years ago, whatever the fuck it was. I don't watch the Winter Olympics.
15, I think, yeah.
It was a state-sponsored, organized doping thing. First of all, the Russians swept those games, right? They got more golds than anybody. They got more medals than anybody, I think. And the way they did it was diabolical, all right? They stopped even fucking trying to go, like, high science with this shit. They were just like, let's put a hole in the wall of the laboratory and we'll just pass the clean urine in and take the dirty urine out and just swap them out when nobody's looking. Yeah, just come in at 2 a.m. Nobody's in there. It's our lab. Dimitri's got the fucking keys.
Hey, it almost worked.
We don't need the keys. Sergey's the one doing the test. Cool. They just swapped all of their they ran every single athlete hot as fuck. They juiced them to the gills all the way through. They're juicing at the games probably. They're in their fucking like room putting fucking Diana ball up their ass or something, but they're passing he went through the whole program. At first, the guy who like invented the test that was able to recognize like the metabolites created when someone had been on steroids, it allowed them to test people who had been off steroids for 6 months, which was a big step up instead of like weeks. It went from 4 to 6 weeks to like 6 months that you could catch them pissing hot, and it sort of takes a lot of the pep and the advantage out of roids. He invents this test. Well, he goes ahead and makes an antidote for it at the same time. So the Russians all passed the test, and now they're like cracking open this old urine and they're finding that it all has like a higher weight. What is a gravity is how they refer to it, because they've added salt to it. They've added salt to it to make it like right or something like that, to make it the right weight, because it's it's
similar thing the Russians would do is like, I don't know my performance enhancing drugs that well, but let's call it, Diana 2. They would use Diana 2 for years, and then they would invent the test to detect Diana 2 and move on to Diana 3, right? Invented drug, I know. Well, then they would tell the doping agencies how to detect Diana 2. So all the other countries that are a step behind are now guilty, but we're on 3, so we're fine.
Very smart and devious.
The urine that they use is they only use the urine containers. I believe the containers are made in like Switzerland or something like that.
Okay.
And they're very special. Like you're probably thinking like it's a little plastic cup. What's the big deal?
Yes.
Well, it's got a little locking lid. Ooh.
Is it
No,
child-proof?
It's human proof. It looks absurd on the top, like the part that screws down has like a whole mechanism built in it. It's all clear so you can see like the inner workings of it. It takes a special device to open the bottle once the bottle has been closed. And only the Swiss have the device or whatever, like the people who are going to test it. The
That's
Russians,
safe because they never do that great in the Olympics. Like, there's no incentive for the Swiss
Exactly.
to cheat a lot.
exactly.
How many people live in Switzerland?
8.
Dozens. Yeah.
It's Gunnar and his family. And,
Yeah,
and they,
Gunther and his gang.
they invented the bottle, so you don't have to worry about it. The Russians invent a machine to crack the bottles. They're like, oh yeah, we make a new machine, the crack bottle. No one know. So like they're going to all these B samples that are like years old, and they're all like, holy shit, they all had the same scratch right here, where the Russians applied their fucking invented machine to crack them open and like replace the fucking piss. It's absurd. I
That's
think it's
hilarious.
called Icarus. And
Yeah.
it's on Netflix, this whole documentary. But I watched the Rogan Experience, where this Brian Fogel guy, I think his name is, was the guest. And he explained that like the guy in charge of the Russian doping program ended up getting not really exposed, but he came forward and like admitted it all. And he's got like death threats against him, and now he's in hiding. He had to escape the fucking country. It's a whole ridiculous thing.
I don't like
Jesus.
the Russians and their poison. It's such an effective assassination technique. And people who don't die still get messed up. Like, there's one guy, I can't even describe his skin, but like, imagine, someone who had like the worst acne pockmarks you've ever seen. That
Rachel.
times 5, and now that's what he has to deal with. What did you say?
Yeah, in the Marvel universe, some powers would have come along with what they did to him.
Yeah,
It's
he's
absurd.
Deadpool looking at
They
this
did
point.
this thing. They did this
Victor
thing to this guy.
Yushchenko. Yeah.
They did this thing to this
Do you
guy
have a
one
link
time.
like I show a picture?
They had like a KGB agent go up to this guy one time they were going to get rid of, and he had this special umbrella, and he poked the guy in the leg with the umbrella, and what happened was it injected a tiny ball that was hollowed out that was full of polonium, I think, which is radioactive element, and the guy died like within a week or something from horrific radiation poisoning because the guy he was just like, ow, you hit me with your umbrella. And he's like, sorry, comrade. And they just like went their own fucking separate ways. And a week later, he's dead.
Have you guys not heard in Russia about basically the fight clubs? They just run around in large groups of young men
Tracksuits. Yeah.
are fighting each other.
Like hooligans.
I didn't know this was a big thing.
No, I don't know what it's called, but it is like, and I saw it on, I forget, maybe one of the news magazines on TV, maybe 60 Minutes, but they're like, men should fight. This is not that we hate each other, but if you're a grown man and you're not fighting, then you're not a grown man. That's basically the attitude. And they get together and beat the fuck out of each other.
Bare knuckle?
Knuckle, feet. There's groups. That's it. Fight Club just doesn't do as brutally. Yeah. And by the way, you can deep dive into that. You know another sport you should deep dive?
I'm going to deep dive into this. This looks fun.
Here's one you should deep dive. There's a sport that they play once a year in Rome that is a combination of rugby and MMA.
Yes. Oh my god.
Have you seen that before?
Yeah, there's a lot of felons in that.
And so they get into basically it's like an arena, like a gladiator, like a coliseum. And there's a rugby ball, but the only way to advance the rugby ball is to beat the fuck out of each
Yeah,
other.
the ball plays a small role in this game, it seems.
Very small role. But it is the best way I can explain it is rugby with MMA. I don't know what the rules are, and I don't know how you win, but I've seen a couple people lose.
We don't need the rule.
Well played.
Yeah,
That's exactly
like
right.
100%, you lose.
I read a story about a guy who
Oh.
plugged the space station with his thumb because there was a hole in it. And I didn't know that was possible either, but I don't know anything about space. So this
Did you?
is kind of the same
Here's
thing.
what I didn't know until that incident. If you guys are unfamiliar, probably Kyle heard of it, but the Russian space station got a hole in it. Actually, what it turned out to be is someone drilled a hole in it. And you saying that's not the case?
I don't believe the fucking Russians.
Well, this was on
Okay,
the International
well-
Space Station on the Russian side, right?
Yeah.
I think Taylor's right. And they showed the hole, And it's pretty clear to anyone who's ever drilled in metal what happened here. The hole is a perfect little circle the size of a drill bit, and there's like sort of telltale. If you've ever like scooted a moving drill bit across metal, it leaves a certain pattern scratch mark thing, and that was next to it. And it's just like, oh, well, freaking obviously someone drilled a hole in that, perhaps by accident. And the people on the ground noticed that the oxygen was dropping. It was kind of a non-crisis, I suppose, and someone put their thumb on it, and then eventually they repaired it with like epoxy and something else, and there you have it.
Interesting.
What I didn't know, I always imagined that if there was a hole in something in space, you got sucked out of it like crazy.
I did too.
Yeah, every movie ever, they just like they're grabbing like they're holding onto the walls, feet getting pulled towards it, etc. And the guy just plugs it with his thumb until someone finds bubble gum.
Yeah.
It turns out the pressure inside a space station is like 1 atmosphere.
8 psi or something.
Yeah, 8 psi, something like that. The same pressure that we have around us all the time. It's now underwater, you get some serious pressure, but they only pressurize it to 1 atmosphere. And outside, it's pressurized to 0 atmosphere. It's not, because it's exponentially, it's not a lot different than being on top of a mountain or something. Like, it's just low pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not that crazy. I learned that from some Neil deGrasse Tyson thing or something I watched a while back. So I knew that already. But in the movie Alien Resurrection, there's a part where she flicks some of her acidic blood onto the window behind the monster, and it gets stuck to that hole, and the hole's like the size of a quarter, and rapidly it is sucked through the hole, like sort of like inside out. So, like at first it breaks the skin, and then it sucks all the innards through it, and they're just spraying into space as the monsters are going like suffering horribly. And I remember thinking like that might be the worst. That's one of the worst ways to go. That this magical hypothetical alien space death seems excruciatingly painful because it took like a minute or something to kill the thing. It took forever.
Oh, I mean, like if the hole's big enough, you're gonna die pretty quick.
It's not actually. That was another thing that's kind of surprising. They made it. I've always thought that if you went into space, like it was just like an instant death ruining thing. It's apparently not that insane to like be in space.
To be out there.
I mean, you can't breathe anything. And
I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah, but I
don't
always
know.
thought like your eyes instantly popped out and left your sockets and like crazy things happened. I don't think
Your
that's
blood boils.
I've
Yeah,
never
I've
seen
heard that
anybody
one.
do it. I've heard like as soon as you're out there in space, like free floating, if you don't blow all the if you don't have all the air out of your lungs when you get out there, it'll do some science shit and
Yeah, remember
kill ya.
Event Horizon?
Yeah,
Yeah, that scene in Event Horizon's pretty rough. Yeah, where he gets depressurized.
that stressed me out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that made me not. I don't ever want to go to space.
Nah, space is scary.
Not like that's on my table.
Hey, it might be Elon Musk is just making all kinds of things happening. I saw he tweeted out the 2020 Roadster, fastest production car in the world. It's like 0 to 60 in 1.4 seconds or something like that. Something insane. Some of the Russian space stuff is really scary when you like start learning about like this, the way they beat us in the space, all those space races where they didn't have the safety issues that we did. Like we were concerned with our astronauts. We were concerned even with our dogs that we were sitting up there or whatever, and they just didn't give a fuck. So like a lot of people apparently just got burnt up, and they never mentioned it. They were just like, they would only let you in. They told you about their successes and none of their failures. NASA is like, hey, tomorrow, get this, guys. Like, come on, get the cameras around. Yeah, everybody. We're going to launch this gigantic rocket with 4 guys in it. Oh, they're burning alive. They're all burning alive. Oh, God. Oh, God.
It is a dangerous job.
They couldn't get out because we made the door funny. Shit. like that's how NASA works. That literally happened, right? With I don't remember which one it was, but the astronauts all burnt alive inside the inside the thing.
Sergey, how did the mission 7 go yesterday? What mission 7? Yeah.
It goes from 6 to 8.
Yeah. 6 to 8. Yeah. Sputnik 31. It's like, oh, okay, made it.
We randomize the numbers. Pay no attention.
Yeah, no. It's like the way they'll do like military groups where they'll be like, all right, this is the 91st Marines. It's like, does that mean there's 90 other ones at least out there? Like,
yeah, SEAL Team 6 is like that. They call it SEAL Team 6 so that like the enemies all thought, Holy shit, they got 6 groups of these bad motherfuckers? 6 of those?
At least. We don't know if there's 7.
I don't remember how many there are in reality, like 2 or 3 or something like that. Whatever.
Oh, how lame of them to tell us.
Not 6, right?
I think they're all about to be on steroids, which I'm excited for. I hope we're getting to a new steroid era in the UFC where we start seeing a lot of physiques get crazy. I hope we see a super jacked up female fighter, like a Gabby Garcia, but for the UFC, someone who's like roided out. Taylor, do you know that every women's track record was set in the 80s and hasn't been touched since?
It's because they were juicing.
That's when track was
one
good, baby.
theory.
Name one female track star. FloJo, right? Like that's the only one you know? The nails and everything?
I have no idea who FloJo is.
FloJo set every fucking record there was because
Florence Griffith
jacked
Joyner,
up out of her
maybe?
mind on goofballs and testosterone. It was during, it was the height
Is
of the
she
Cold
still
War.
alive?
Boom.
The FloJo?
Sure.
One of the women's track greats died at like 42.
She died of prostate cancer.
she had testicle cancer.
You were right. She died in 1998, age 38.
There you go.
Yeah.
Height of the Cold War. What do you mean?
Live fast, die young.
No, I was saying,
Yeah.
how did she die? In her sleep.
Yeah.
A
That's
severe
what they said.
epileptic seizure.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not drug related.
If you look at like the 800-meter women's record, look at that lady's body, and it reminds me of Bruce Jenner. Like it's crazy. 400-meter women's, like all those records are set in the 80s because they were just pounding testosterone. You know, those ladies look like men.
The East Germans used to come with like big manly bodies and armpit hair and deep voices.
Yeah. It's sad though if you think about it because, you know, those athletes love their sport. They didn't sign up necessarily for a clit bigger than my dick and a beard better than Taylor's. You know, they just wanted to be old.
They wanted the gold though.
Putter.
Kyle, you're not looking at the upsides. Belly button hair.
Yeah.
You're so weird about that body hair, man. Rogan said that shit too. Like I hate when Rogan
Wait,
says
what'd
something
Rogan
that-
say?
Rogan says he's like some hairy. He's like, oh yeah, I like hairy women. Like armpit hair, yeah, no problem.
That's just
at all.
his
No
simian
problem at all.
heritage. Like he's very
Yeah, The Rock on
Apish.
this week. Oh, that was pretty cool.
The
Yeah.
Rock.
Yeah, The Rock's got to be one of the biggest celebrities in the world.
He is. He's
had
in
Elon
the
Musk on the-
Jumanjis now.
Yeah, I had Elon
And
Musk
other
on the
ones?
week before.
Yeah,
did he
Elon
keep
Musk,
doing?
another big one. I said
Yeah,
he was in Jumanji. That was huge.
Oh yeah.
And he's still in a bunch of stuff. You're talking about like Russian drugs. In the KHL, the Continental Hockey League, the second largest hockey league in the world, the second top, like behind the NHL, it's the most skilled league. And
Really?
Ryan Whitney, who's a host on Spit and Chicklets, like, and a lot of the players they have on for interviews talk about something called Russian gas, which apparently there's a drug that they used to, like, doctors for teams used to inject into you when you played in the KHL, or they would let you breathe. They'd put a mask over your face and you would just breathe stuff in a while before the game. And this was like the end of Ryan Whitney's career, where he was playing in the KHL, and he was like, oh my God, like, I don't know what the fuck was in that Russian gas, but you're unstoppable. You're unbeatable. Like, I was out on the ice telling myself, like, your career's not wrapped up. You got another shot at the NHL. You're flying out here. And then he's like, the next day I woke up with like a Russian gas hangover of like, oh, feeling horrible. And so I guess like they just juice up all of their guys. Just anytime they want, they'll just gas them up with gas or injections. Like there's nobody gives a fuck over there. So imagine the 80s. They were just using bull hormones on people.
So I was thinking it was clenbuterol at first. That was my first thought. Clen is often
Please be Tran.
well, certainly not Trent.
Come on. Kyle, I feel like you're not even trying to win.
But Toradol apparently is what it is. It's used in combination with an amphetamine. It would give them a psychological lift. There's a long history of the drug being used on the QT by NHL teams. Sean Avery mentions it's used by teams in his book Offside, My Life in Hockey. Basically, Toradol, the brand name for the chemical ketorolac, is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory and pain reliever. Its practical use of it would be there's a lot of them apparently. But anyway, I think it's giving them that psychological lift you're talking about. It would make the player feel invincible on the ice. And yes, it really does work to achieve this effect quite effectively and predictably within minutes. And then, they're saying that along with an amphetamine for, energy and like pep and drive and focus would be a ridiculously good combination. And you could inhale it. You could inhale all that.
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing over there in the K, sucking up Russian gas. That makes you feel great. I'd try it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, whenever you're ready to begin your biohacking journey and freeze a little jism, okay, it's time. I was when I was talking to Harley and his business partner, his name escapes me. I'm sorry, buddy. I forgot your name. We talked for like 4 fucking hours last night. I was telling him, I was like, yeah, dude, get on the steroids. I was like, how's your hair? He's like, it's gone. I was like, let's go. What are we waiting on? What are we waiting on? And he said the same thing you always say. It's that fertility thing. You want to be prepared to make babies. Yeah. But here's the thing, Taylor. We're getting very close to those Gattaca years. So very soon, I think it's going to be common practice for like upper middle class people to submit a sperm sample, maybe even a few different eggs, and have the doctor go in and be like, perfect. This is if not, this is the ideal one. Like this is your winner. Like not just we're not doing a foot race to determine who gets the share of DNA. But maybe that's not the best.
This one's going to have normal cholesterol and no shoulder hair.
Phil, you're not going to have ideal children, but this is the best you can do.
Yeah, this is the best I can
even
do. They
better.
go in there, they remove the hairy gene, they put in the
genuinely
make me taller.
Genuinely, that's what Gattaca is. It's that one brother was just prior to that technological breakthrough, or it being common practice and acceptable, and the other is like, if you're gonna play football, you gotta wear a helmet, of course. Yeah, let's blue eyes, 6'1" to 6'3", maybe, no taller, right? And no Dumbo feet, size 10.5, 11. That looks good in Paisley. What else?
His skin,
not too much body hair. Like you go through this whole fucking thing, like skin tone, like definitely no high insulin resistance. Propensity for muscle. Well, not too much. He's not going to be he's not going to be digging ditches for a living. We're 180 IQ. Well, no, that's our platinum package, man. 160 really gets you far these days. Oh yeah, 160 is most bang for your buck, right? That's coming. So I'm telling you, forget about going wild hog and shooting all natural jism into some lady. Freeze some of these young cummies today, because I don't know if jism has that long tail, but I know eggs don't. Like there's a prime time eggs that a lady makes, like her first egg isn't necessarily as good as her last, and I'm pretty sure there's like a sweet zone where like we want to get that ovum right there.
You want that 25-year-old egg. Or whatever
what I'm saying,
peak of
some of those 32-year-old spermatozoids, freeze them up, and then in a year, 5 years, whenever, 25 years now, when you want your 8th child, when you're on your 4th wife, you can be like, hey, unfreeze some of my gummies and make me a blue-eyed NHL assassin, and they'll be like, right away, sir.
That's okay. You're selling me, but it's gonna. The initial wave of that is going to be a lot like the first plasma screen TVs, where you're going to be getting a lot of fucked up children of thalidomide, like that kind of shit. You want like 20 years into that technology when they've hammered out all the dents, all the nonsense.
We're not experimenting on me. We're making experimental babies. All right.
Yeah. And I don't want to have
cutting edge, baby.
Some like 8-armed kid look like he's a god in India.
Just don't do it in Missouri.
They kill those
right?
in utero.
Pick a nice blue state where the day before it's born and you know what you're going to get. You can still abort.
No, that's ghastly. Can't be doing that.
But you've got so much potential to unlock. You could be the key master.
The key master? Dude,
you have a cool name.
Do you think it's too late for me to make the NHL? Dude, 32, making my way
I don't think it's too late for you to play for a team that's on television. I bet if you went full bore biohacked, you made it your life's mission. You spent 5 days a week training with a trainer. We got you on all the drugs. You could definitely play
No,
in
if
some
I
sort of
make
league
it-
that's on television.
If I make it on the NHL ice at this point in my life,
Not the
it's
NHL
because
ice, where
I've
you-
had a total mental breakdown. Like that's,
Bang! Bang! This you cocksucker! Bang! Bang!
the
Fuck
draft
you,
rigged.
Blackhawk piece of shit! Bang!
The draft is rigged. Listen to me. You can either join the Blues or you can you can quit hockey forever. I got a beanbag gun.
What are his
Aiming for
demands?
knees, trying
this
to end
the-
their
He wants
career.
Gretzky to
Chicago
come
rookie
down here and
after?
sign his jersey.
What's his
Yes.
name? Brigard or something?
Connor
Oh, man.
Bedard.
Bedard.
He should play for St. Louis. It's not fucking fair that Chicago got him. Space.
There's theories that like America faked the moon landing just so they could like one up the Soviets, and then they just did it later anyway. They're just like,
Yeah.
we'll do it eventually, but we'll just fake the first one.
Dude, if it came out
covered
that
it
it
on
was
this show
fake, it would be
before.
so embarrassing.
We 100% lost the space race.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is such bullshit that America won the space race.
Goalpost moving.
Yeah, we've shown it before here. Let's see.
They did a bunch of things, but we did the biggest thing. We went.
But that wasn't the race. It was to get to outer space, and then we're like, that's actually not the.
Well, I'll say this: they quit right after that,
yeah,
and their whole
Because-
country crumbled.
that's
Because
true.
it's pointless. Why would you want to go to the moon? It's fucking pointless. There's nothing there.
And that's
We
the
haven't gone
point.
back.
It's like it's achieving the technology and the economy to make it happen instead of using your tech and economy to blow each other up. Like that was the idea. But yeah, they did all the things. They were the first ones to put an object on another planet. They went to Venus. The first satellite, the first dog in space, like the first life form in space, like all that shit.
Wait, they got to Venus first?
Yeah.
Then
sent-
we definitely lose. That's further away than the
Well,
moon.
they didn't send a person though.
Well, I know.
You
This
gotta send a person.
Oh,
space race, first artificial satellite, first animal in space, first photographs of the far side of the moon. These are all Russian accomplishments. First person in space, first woman in space, first spacewalk, all Russia. First spacecraft landing on the moon, Russia. First person on the moon, America. First spacecraft landing on another planet, Venus, that's Russia. First space station, that's Russia. First spacecraft landing on Mars, that's Russia. Winner of the space race, America.
dude, we got blown out. Like,
Dude,
take this down. This is propaganda. We won. This is communist.
We're all a bunch of commies.
Only one of these countries still exists anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, they still beat us. The space station thing is a huge L. Like that's such a big thing to do.
we
Building
don't
a
even
space
have one
station.
now. And they do? Is that right?
There's an
Don't you
international
go-
space station.
We all
The
share.
Americans just
And-
cop
and
a
they
ride
let-
with the
I'm pretty sure they let
Russians every
Mir-
time they know that.
Hold on, what was that, Slash?
Don't the Americans just cop a ride with the Russian rockets every time they go up?
No, we use Elon Musk now.
Now.
And we got
Yeah.
there, what, because of Operation Paperclip, where we're like, all these Nazi scientists are Americans now and they belong to us. We stole
Yeah,
them.
give them land on Nantucket Island.
Yeah.
How do we feel about Bezos going to space? I'm a little mixed.
I'm glad
I-
he went. First of all, he barely went. Like
Yeah.
they made it sound when I heard he was going to space. Like I was watching Landmark stream when it happened. He's like, they're like, oh, he's going to space right now. Oh wait, he's back. Well, how long was he up there? And they're like 37 seconds. They're like, well, that's nonsense.
How
he's not
high
an-
did he go?
That's stupid.
He went high enough that it was like technically space.
That
Like-
Red
like-
Bull
It's
space jumper
suborbital,
was-
isn't it? Yeah.
If you
that
look
Red Bull
up Jeff
base jumper
Bezos'
dude.
altitude, it says he's 5'7".
Oh.
No wonder it was easy to get him into space. He's a fucking midget. I reckon I can kick the cunt into space.
They put him in the overhead bin.
So he
Yeah,
went
yeah.
to 250,000 feet, which is how many miles is that? 100 miles roughly. That's a lot. I've been to
Yeah.
2 on a paramotor, so about the same.
Yeah, that's true. You know, and
Definitely.
he wasn't steering it, so you're more qualified.
I like where this is headed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is good.
If I'm Bezos, I'm like, no. Put me behind the controls. Like, sir, I am ex-Air Force. I've been training in the module for the last 3 years for you. Slide down. All right, what do I do? I'm getting behind the controls. I want that picture of me piloting us into space.
Does it have a wheel? Do you think?
It's probably got a
Power steering went out.
What if they did that thing that they do for like little kids? They give them like the fake little steering wheel, like on their and he's over there like he's like putting it in gear.
It's bright yellow and green. It says Fisher Price.
Yeah, he's honking the horn and it's making like cow noises, like.
Zach, I can't follow all these one-word things. Are you saying Red Bull went higher, or
Yeah,
it says
yeah.
Red Bull?
Do you
did
remember,
more.
Woody? The highest jump. The guy, Red Bull did the highest ever like free fall to a parachute, and the guy was in space when he jumped. Like you could see the curvature of the Earth, and so he's saying that guy, the Red Bull jumping.
No,
guy
he said the
in
opposite.
space.
He clarified he was wrong. Okay.
Oh,
I was confused.
Well, it's
how high did the what's his fucking name? The Virgin bloke. How high did he go?
Richard Branson. I don't know.
Yeah. Did he go to 250,001 feet?
Oh, I seriously doubt it, because his thing is like a space plane. Like it looks funky. Elon Musk is the winner of this thing by like a long
280,000 feet for Branson.
Yeah,
of course, Elon Musk's wins this head to head for sure.
He hasn't.
But Musk hasn't been. He hasn't been into space.
Musk hasn't
himself.
left Earth at all.
But that's by choice.
Yeah,
he could
go if he wanted to.
If he was brave enough.
Is he 5'7"?
Bezos and
Or-
Branson have
or
the
dumb enough.
cojones. Well,
Yeah.
they're both alive, so it's brave.
I've been
I'd
getting
love to
some
hear
pre-rolls
his answer
from-
on that. Like why haven't you gone to space, Elon? Like I bet he has a great answer. I bet he has a great answer.
I haven't
Really,
heard
because
much
he's
about
such an
him.
accomplished speaker and he makes his point so eloquently.
Yeah, it'll be like,
That is
I came
not- that
from
is not-
space. I
that
don't
is
need to
not.
go back.
You're right.
Yeah, I saw some meme about Zuckerberg like laughing when he hears that the other billionaires are going to space when he came from space. And he's
Yeah.
with like what
Absolutely.
actually.
Yeah. So that's the Kamar Daban Pass. That's the region where it happened. It happened in I think it was the 80s, if I remember correctly, 80s, 90s, on the border of Russia and Kazakhstan in a region known as like the Kamar Daban mountain region. I gave most of the details in the video, but the short run through is that this lady was known for taking these groups of hikers on these like week-long hiking trips up into the mountains around Kazakhstan, which are pretty considerable mountains. You've got to be like a decent survivalist to begin with to get up there. And this specific group that she went with was a group of her students, so to speak, who she'd been doing it with for a couple of years. So they were like very experienced. And this pass that they were going on wasn't particularly hard by any means. It was comparatively easy. They had taken all the food that they needed for the amount of time given. There was other groups who were hiking the mountain at the same time that they had planned to have rally points where they would meet up and then continue. And then one day, I believe it was about 5 days into the trip, the other group she was supposed to meet with did not see her at one of these rally points, or her group. And it had rained the day before. So there's a good idea for what the region's like. It had rained the day before, so they just figured, oh, well, they probably just got slowed down because of the rain. And like, we'll see them whenever we get there. But sure enough, they get to the bottom of the mountain and that group isn't there. So eventually they launch an investigation. People start looking. And then about 3 days later, one of the students who was in that group shows up at a local city. And she goes to the police and tells them a whole story. The exact details of what she said isn't known. And then 2 weeks after that, and that's like one of the real suspicious details of the case. They didn't launch an investigation for 2 weeks. Weather was pretty clear at the time. 2 weeks later, they go look for them up on top of the mountain. And then there is video footage of the entire search for them and their eventual finding of the body. And then I believe it was 6 people. The survivor made 7. 6 people, all within a couple hundred feet of each other, are just lying dead in a clearing on top of the mountain. They're like, a couple of them are lying next to each other. One of them's like more towards the woods as if they're running away. 2 more together at the front of the woods. And it starts to paint a really weird picture. The initial idea at the time was that the survivor had murdered the others, because logically, if 6 people die, only 1 comes back, that would be the solution. However, there was no evidence on the bodies that there was any kind of fight or any kind of strangulation marks or whatever. But then even more suspiciously, after doing a full autopsy, there was no evidence of anything that happened to these bodies. They just kind of dropped over. There wasn't signs that you would see in hypothermia, like late stage, like like what is it, like the lung fluid starts to contract or recede or whatever, and the skin of the bodies were too decomposed at this point to see if they were like, you know, frozen up or anything. So it remained a total mystery of what had happened for about 20 years. Eventually, a reporter, actually it's like more like 30 years, it's like 28, a reporter eventually tracked down the one survivor and asked for testimony, because what had happened is she gave the police a testimony and then never mentioned it to anyone else. So she finally sat down with the reporter after 30 years and gave her side of the story and said that what had happened is they were just walking down the mountain. Everything was normal. It had rained the day before, although they were okay. They had ate breakfast. And then one of them starts screaming and coughing up blood. And then it was the teacher, runs over to help him out. She kneels down next to him and immediately starts coughing up blood too. She looks up at the group and blood is running out of her eyes, and she's telling them to get away. So, of course, the 5 remaining begin to freak out and run. And as they're running, one of the guys drop. Exact same thing happens to him. One of the girls, I think it was maybe his girlfriend or something, comes back to help. Same thing happens to her.
Carry on.
Yeah, it's like such a weird, bizarre story.
Yeah.
Eventually, the rest of them run, and the only one who keeps running and does not succumb to whatever's happening is the one girl who ended up being a survivor. She had enough temporary shelter on her back. She was able to set up camp for the night, although all of the food was with the people who had died. So the next day she did the math and was like, I can't walk for 4 days without food or water. I'm going to have to go back to the bodies. So the next morning she gets up, she goes back to the bodies, and they're all still laying there. They're in the exact same position that they had dropped down at. So she took her food and managed to make the hike. The 4 days, went to the police station. And the reason she said that she had never told that story is because she assumed no one would believe her and would think that she's covering up for some reason. Because, you know, if one girl survives a hiking trip and then is like, oh no, they all started bleeding from the face, that's going to cause some suspicion, which is the reason she told
when
them.
they found the bodies, and you were saying they didn't see anything about them like having, you know, died in a curious condition. Mm-hmm. What about all the vomiting and the blood and the
it had been 2 weeks outside, so like the top layer of skin was just like darkened, sunken in across the face. All the blood at that point had either, whenever someone dies outside in the woods, there's a lot of bloating and like pustules and other gross stuff.
Not to mention the crows had picked these people's eyeballs out, and like the foxes ate their lips off. Like God knows what was left of them.
Yeah, it probably looked pretty bad.
You can't see like the full body on the video, but he comes up to someone who's laying face down, and you can see his hands, and they're just like black and emaciated. So they're in a pretty rough condition. They weren't able to tell anything, like if they're
like one of those Everest bodies you see.
Yeah.
Where it's like they look like a really old piece of dog shit.
So I think one of your explanations, and probably the one that you think is the best, is what I agree with, and it makes a lot of sense to me. But before we I feel like it's almost a spoiler. Let's see what Woody and Taylor, do you guys have any theories about like what could have gone wrong here?
So she didn't murder them.
You know where this happened, the time of year. That was one of the theories. And you know the roughly the
I like this game, Kyle. This is good.
The murder thing. The murder thing doesn't make sense because you said it was a woman who survived, and it was a group of people who would have like fought back if someone was just like sort of willy-nilly murdering.
Yeah, the survivor was like.
What about poison? Girl. Like, could you poison? Are there any berries that cause symptoms what they experienced, or any food like that in the region?
Go ahead.
Well, they're all survivalists, right? Like they know the poison.
They could be bad ones.
From the good.
I painted something today. It's terrible.
But these are.
Taylor, I don't like the way you're doing this. You need to lay out your
Let me lay
theory,
this out. So Wendigoon gave you like the fast forward version, but these are the best. This lady, like I think I've made fun of her before in the past. Like some lady led a bunch of kids up into the wilderness, and then they all ran out of their tents naked at night and froze to death. Like I think that's what I had heard. But no, like she was a legit like fucking Sarah Connor style survivalist lady who knew her shit and knew how many calories each person would need to be eating each day down to 100 calories. And like she was an expert.
Here's my theory.
Okay.
She looked at her food supplies, determined that there wasn't enough for everyone to live. found some way to kill the people around her, so that she could, and made it out.
Okay. So murder is
Murder is the way I'm going on this.
Okay.
All right.
Did she report that they were like short on food during their expedition? I
So
guess if you murdered
whenever-
someone for food, you wouldn't.
They could have made it out. They could have made it out without food as long as they had water, right? Because like they're survivalists. They
4
could have
days.
eaten.
Yeah.
They could,
To continue giving the facts, whenever they found the bodies, most of them had their food supplies still on them that hadn't been ate through,
Okay.
indicating that they didn't starve. So
Oh, I'm gonna change my answer. There was a romance thing. She didn't like. There was some sort of interpersonal thing
it's a
going on.
7-way, and she wanted to be she wanted a good old fashioned traditional 4-way.
Wait, God intended.
Like this guy,
Poor men,
that
just being
guy,
men.
this guy like a girl, but she wanted to be liked instead. So she murdered like 3 or 4 of them, so they wouldn't know she was targeting that girl in particular.
Or
But
maybe
it all happened
like-
so quickly, apparently, because they're
like
all in that little area.
Well, if I thought it was that, I would probably imagine a scenario where she killed one girl, but then she got caught, and like maybe they were like, you killed Amber, we're telling on you when we get back, and then she poisons everybody that night. Like
just
you could
became a brawl. Oh,
Yeah.
you're saying she killed them after one murder. I see what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. Because what are they gonna do? Arrest her? They're 4 days out. They're like, I can't believe that's what would happen. They'd be like, I can't believe you killed Amber. And maybe they got into a fight.
You don't tie him up or something. If someone murders someone on a camping trip, you don't go, "Hey, strike one, Buster." That's fucking absurd. No, you would tie them up and leave them, if anything. Like,
if it was a cute girl and there were other girls there to be like, Mark, you're not gonna tie up Becky, are you? Her hands are turning blue. She said she can't breathe. What do you mean she can't breathe? Her hands are tied. She can't breathe.
I don't imagine.
You cut those ropes just to avoid the screaming.
Just
This is funny because
no, that's how
Kyle
it happened.
knows
And then one guy got so tired of it, he tied them all up, and then he
he just left them.
piece.
there.
Just a random
It's real
woodsman was
weird.
like,
all
"You're-"
6 of them were tied up in one circle. Crazy how bears do that randomly.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying it. There must be an answer to this that you guys know. I don't want you. I keep going back to poison. I don't understand what can make everyone do the same thing.
Yeah, according to my theory, the one that like I subscribe to, you're not far off with the poison.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
What do they suspect?
Spill the beans, Wendigo.
Yes,
Tell
I'll
them.
spill the beans. All right. So this is kind of like a bit of a cheat because you didn't know this information going in. However, this region of the Kamar Daban region, which is again on the border of
It's full of ghosts.
Very haunted.
Notoriously full of ghosts.
The ghost.
It's the home of the Ghoul King.
Oh yeah, it's a bad area where we got bad with ghosts. Lousy with ghosts. Yeah.
Right. Right with the
Right with ghosts.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's ghost season up there. You jest, but this is how most of the theories I read about. This is where they come from.
They're fun. I like it.
They are. Anyway, so that region that's on the Russian border was used during the Cold War as a weapons testing facility. That is an openly documented fact that they would use the mountains to test mortar fire or artillery barrages, and most importantly for this story, gas attacks. There are specific strains of nerve gas that were tested in the region at that time that can last in the air for, I think some of them are up to like 1.5 years. Like once they're detonated, they just have to disperse and then hopefully no one breathes it in. And a lot of them were detonated like in these completely obscure like canyons and mountains for that reason. Most importantly to this story, most of them are pliable to water. So if you were to physically flush a region or wash it, it would cause the gas to not be destroyed, but to move somewhere else. So the theory that a lot of people subscribe to, and the one that makes the most sense to me, is that they're hiking down the mountainside, and then it had rained the day before, which again matters for this story. So it rains, and this rain causes a washout of a mountain, a canyon, a valley, or something, and causes the gas to move along the mountainside. This group of hikers are then walking, and it's also important for this story. This was like in the final years of the Cold War, whenever stuff like nerve gas was being developed a lot. So it makes sense that if they did test it, it would still exist around there. So they're walking down the mountainside, and then all it takes, I forget what the name of the one I showed in the video was that was tested in that region, but it is so effective that like half of one of Kyle's vape hits would kill you instantly. It just takes a very minute amount. So as it's flooding through the region, one of them just breathes in a little bit, and that would immediately cause the lining of their lungs to begin to fall apart. It would cause the bleeding of the eyes and other soft tissues. Another detail I didn't mention, according to the survivor, Kyle's dying. Yeah, see, like that, the nerve gas, there it goes. What I saw that scratching your eyes. What I didn't mention is one of the girls who was affected, according to the survivor, she started bashing her head onto a rock and like scratching at her throat, indicating that it was painful or she could feel something in there. So that would explain what Kyle's about.
What about the rock? Because of the pain?
Oh, well, she would have been feeling like the inside of her eyes and like nasal cavity bleeding and flaring out. And according to this girl, she just started hitting her head against a rock as she was dying.
That is so fucked up.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. That would also explain why one of them got affected, and then the person who came to stand in the same spot they were also got infected. There's also the very important mention from the survivor that it was foggy on the mountain that day, which could have not entirely been fog. So yeah, the theory that a lot of people go with, and I'm not the only harebrained one, this is kind of like the consensus online, so to speak.
No, I'm in, man.
That they were victims of old Soviet weapon testing.
The front lines have barely moved. It's barely moved at all. And
I don't follow this one iota, and this looks exactly the same as it did 5 weeks ago when we looked it up on the show.
Literally, in the last like 6 weeks, it's moved 2 blocks.
Here's what has changed.
Actually, it might be a little more Russia-y, unless they added pinkish to the already existing Russian.
Going back about a month or maybe 6 weeks ago, the Ukrainians started using those Soviet era, as in like 1980s era UAVs, those recon drones. And when I imagined a recon drone, I always picture the one from Call of Duty, if I'm being honest. It just looks like a big plane that you threw with your arm and got up there. But this thing looks like a MiG with one engine and no pilot in it. It looks like it's a big jet aircraft, and they loaded like a couple 100 pounds of explosives on those motherfuckers and sent them into Russia, and they got through all of the Russian air defense and went as deep into Russia as Moscow is and struck Russian air bases, damaging like their nuclear bombers.
They've done it twice now. So and
times,
not to be confused, but like the first time they did 2 airports, and then the next time they did a third airport. So I'm calling
Look at that motherfucker. It's like something out of Fallout.
Yeah.
The silver part on top is the craft, by the way, obviously. Like it's on that.
It's on the green
part.
So that's like an old Soviet.
Yeah. That's from like that's a 1980s era. It would fly over and take photographs. It would have film camera inside of it, and it would fly over and take recon.
Is that like a Slavic emblem on the back?
That's Ukraine.
So the Russians were launching these bomb runs, I don't know what to call it, from Russia. They'd fly over Ukraine, they'd drop their bombs, they'd come back. And Ukraine decided, well, heck, if you're going to launch your attack from Russia, then Russia's fair game. So they've started blowing up the bombers in Russia. So and of course Putin and the Russians are like, what is this nonsense? You're crossing our border. And it's like, dude,
how dare you invade our country with your aircraft and explosives?
Right.
Monsters. Like, yeah, there's a lot of hypocrisy going on.
And there's a part of me that wonders, like, hey, Ukraine, don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear. You know, like, if you attack in Russia, like if you would attack Moscow, for example, you'll really piss them off. You don't want that. And then the other part of me is like, what? Then Russia invade you? Then Russia?
We're gonna invade you even harder,
right? Are you telling me they're not trying now that they've been not just like doing poorly for a year, sending 100,000 or more Russians to the meat grinder?
They could be doing that anime thing where like they're just intentionally not using their power.
That's
and
the
then
claim.
waiting to use their full power. Well, I
You
mean, like
had a
obviously,
guy-
like they could use more power in the attack if they wanted. If Putin wanted to be king of the ashes, like most countries could do that shit. Like, but you don't want to lay waste to a country and then be like, "Yay, I'm the lord of
I think
nothing."
he's doing everything
It
he
feels
can.
like they are like they're attacking the power infrastructure in particular and trying to freeze people out and break their will. And it's like, man, like
makes
90%
sense.
of this city's out of power. You are reducing this thing to rubble.
Yeah. From
I don't
Putin's
think,
perspective,
I don't
like
think they're
that
holding
makes sense.
anything back other than nuclear weapons. It's not like it's not like they're not using their good tanks or their good missiles. Like if you look at the
I thought they didn't even have good tanks.
I mean, they've got their version of good tanks, right? Like what I mean is like they've got
It's
like
not
what
they're
they have.
withholding their best tanks.
Yeah, it's not like there's another class of missile or another class of rocket or or some other helicopters that are fancier that they're just leaving back home and they're using their like secondhand stuff. No, they're running low on their stuff now. Their ammo's running low. They're running out of those cruise missiles. They've shot like 12 or 50. I don't know what the count is. They keep count of how many cruise missiles they've shot, but like they've shot over 1,000. They're running out of them.
Are they mostly
those
still
Iranian
shooting
drones?
the unguided stuff?
Yeah, lots of like grad rockets and the rocket trucks that just go phew, 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 phew. Lots of that stuff. But
Those
then
are
they do
so
that.
cool.
Did you
I
guys
know, right?
Yeah.
Did you see All's Quiet on the Western Front? Did you guys watch that movie?
Yeah, that movie was awesome. I thought
haven't,
it was
no.
so cool.
I don't know. I hope I have it in my head that the Ukrainians are doing a little better, that they're supplied by NATO and therefore they have wool socks
Yeah, they
and
got better shit.
clean clothes and shit like
yeah.
that. And also the supply chain is just easier when you're fighting in your own country.
Yeah.
Whereas Russia has to get all that shit past enemy lines.
Very true.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
Still, I don't think it's any fun on the Ukraine side. And
Well,
No,
I mean,
no,
I bet
bet
it's some fun.
No.
I saw.
it's a brutal conflict.
Go to
where
the
tons of
go to
people
the
are dying.
combat
It's
footage
not fun.
subreddit and check out that thermal sniping footage. That guy's having a blast. All right, that guy's got a thermal scope. And,
the guy building his PTSD.
Yeah, but like think about.
Oh, come on! He's just clicking white dots over there, and they're falling over. It's probably not people. It's white dots.
They're
Yeah.
people.
I can't
No,
argue with that.
I wouldn't be able to do that very well. Like I don't think I would be able to kill someone
That's because you got to
well
work
at
on your
all.
mouse and keyboard skills.
And granted, if they were invading my homeland, very, very different. And so I think that would probably
You get the
be
fuck out of St. Louis. Hell, you might do some good. Come on. Yeah, behind me.
Honestly, if Russia
Let's get 'em.
unironically invaded St. Louis, I think a lot of people here would be like, let's wait let's see what ideas they have. Like, and it's
Oh.
like, oh, something to stop crime. Oh, public executions. Well, okay, we'll try it.